Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're doing a deep dive into just one source you shared, but it's a really resonant one, a quote, right? Attributed often to Rilke, sometimes Victor Hugo. No feeling is final. Even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise again. Hmm. So, our mission here, it's not just about admiring the poetry of it. We want to really get into the profound power in those few words and explore how holding on to this simple idea can be, well, a vital tool for getting through life's challenges. Especially, I think, how it fuels that optimism, that positive thinking when you really need it.
It really is striking how that same basic idea pops up with different thinkers, different times. Yeah, at its core, the quote points to something fundamental about being human, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The transient nature of,
yeah.
well, everything, our emotions, our situations, even those really intense, difficult periods. It directly pushes back against that feeling that whatever pain you're in right now is permanent.
Right. And that second part, that's where the power really clicks in, isn't it?
Mm.
Even the darkest night will end,
Yeah.
and the sun will rise again. It's more than just a nice image. It feels like a promise. Like
Yeah.
it's built into how things work, like dawn has to follow night.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is how holding on to that, the certainty that things will change, that this struggle isn't forever, that's not just like passive wishing. It actually helps us endure.
Precisely. Because when you're in that darkest night, grief maybe or anxiety, a major setback, just feeling totally overwhelmed, that feeling itself can feel so convincing, like it's never going to lift. And that sense of permanence, it can be really paralyzing.
Absolutely.
But the quote offers this other way to see it, this difficulty. It has an expiration date. And just acknowledging that impermanence, well, that's the foundation you can build an optimistic outlook on. It kind of gives you permission to look past the immediate pain towards what might come next.
Right, because optimism isn't always about pretending things are fantastic when they clearly aren't. It's more about keeping that belief alive that better times are possible and, working towards them, even when it feels incredibly hard. So if no feeling is final and the darkest night will end, well, that justifies the optimism, doesn't it? It validates the struggle you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it also validates the hope for improvement. It's
Yeah.
like the fuel that stops you giving up when things feel bleak.
Exactly. It helps you shift your internal story. So instead of thinking, this is awful and it's never going to change, the thought becomes something more like, okay, this is awful right now, but it is temporary. And I can hold on because change is coming.
Hmm.
And that perspective, it's not passive at all. It actually empowers you.
How so?
Well, it might empower you to look for solutions, maybe take small steps forward, or sometimes it's simply finding the strength just to wait it out. But you do it with this sense of inner certainty, that expectation of eventual daylight. That is positive thinking in action right there in the middle of adversity.
Hmm. So for you listening, maybe think about this quote less as just a comforting phrase and more like a practical lens, a way to view your own challenges. When you're facing whatever feels like your personal darkest night, try to remember this feeling, this situation. It's not the final page of your story. That core idea, no feeling is final, and the certainty that the sun will rise again, those are powerful anchors.
Yeah, they really are. Anchors for resilience.
They provide that solid ground for the optimism that helps you navigate through.
It's a reminder that, growth, change, healing,
Mm.
they're all part of the natural flow. Difficulty is something we move through. It's not a place we get stuck in forever.
Okay, so just to quickly recap then, the main message from this deep dive is pretty simple, but really empowering. Those tough feelings, the difficult situations you face, they are temporary, like the darkest night right before the dawn breaks. And holding on to that truth, it gives you a crucial foundation for optimism, for positive thinking. It equips you with the strength and maybe the perspective you need to move through life's challenges towards better times. And finally, here's something to maybe mull over as you go about your day. If every feeling you experience, not just the painful ones, but the joyful ones too, if every single feeling is truly temporary, how does really acknowledging that consciously change how you show up for those moments, good or bad, right now?